Special program recorded for broadcast at this time, Barnaby Jones will not be presented this evening.
Good evening, this is Jimmy Stewart. We're approaching the Burbank Studios, home of Columbia Pictures and Warner Brothers. For much of her life, Ingrid Bergman has been making films in studios like these all over the world. She's entertained us all for so long that we thought it time to return the favor. So tonight, just below us, right there on Soundstage 9, we've gathered many of Ingrid's friends and co-stars to share a warm and wonderful evening with her. And we invite you to share it too. May I welcome you to an all-star tribute to Ingrid Bergman.
Yes, Jimmy, and entertaining Ingrid tonight are Jack Albertson, Victor Borga, Joseph Cotten, Peter Falk, Cary Grant, Monty Hall, Signe Hasso, Goldie Hawn, Helen Hayes, Paul Henreid, Frank Sinatra, Richard Widmark, Teddy Wilson, Nelson Riddle and his orchestra. Brought to you by Sears, Roebuck & Company. Sears, where America shops for gifts of value. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, from border to border, wherever you live, the Sears family all over America is ready to serve you at a Sears store or through the catalog. Sears is where America shops for gifts of value. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jimmy Stewart.
Save the applause because you'll really be needing it in the next hour as we pay tribute to our wonderful Ingrid Bergman. And the nice thing about this whole thing is she doesn't know anything about whatever we're going to do tonight. Nothing. And you can see we've sort of pulled together a few things from Ingrid's pictures. For instance, I guess this could be classed as one of the most famous sets in all of Hollywood's history. Rick's Cafe from Casablanca. And you know what? This is the very stage on which Casablanca was filmed. So we have the original stage and, if you please, the original doorman, Dan Seymour. Dan? And the original bartender, Leonid Kinski. Unfortunately, Dooley Wilson's no longer with us, but we've asked another Wilson to sort of fill in for him, a friend of Dooley, Teddy Wilson. Teddy? Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished actor and director, Ingrid, co-star in Casablanca, Paul Henreid.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and for inviting me here tonight. Thank you, Jimmy, again. It gives me great joy to be in a room filled with so many, many old friends, to honor a lady that I adore. She was a darling person to work with, and it was a pleasure to do Casablanca with her. I first brought her into Rix, right here, some 37 years ago. And it is my honor to do so again tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Ingrid Bergman. You look lovely. Just lovely. It's so nice to be with you again.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Please,
Yes.
for old time's sake, shall we have a drink here at Rix?
Yes.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
Of course.
Madame?
The usual.
There we are.
Lovely to
Thank
see you again. The usual
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Paul, good to see you.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, very much.
Cheers.
Cheers. Shall we say to bogey?
Yes.
To bogey.
To bogey. And to my courtiers.
And to my courtesy.
And to all the others that were with us.
Now, we can't leave Rix tonight without one final memory, don't you think? Ingrid, this moment, however, belongs to you alone. So I'm going to leave you now and join my free French friends at another table. All right? Forgive me? Thank you.
And I stay on here?
You stay on, and Teddy, will you please sing a song and play for me?
Miss Bergman, in the picture you asked Julie to sing a song.
Yes.
Can you still hum it as you did then?
Oh. All right, I shall try. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da. As time goes by.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. Sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate. No one can deny. it's still the same old story. Fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. Like the man said, is looking at you, kid. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. And the world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.
Look at super values from Sears. Save 20% on the shirt and pants that fit.
Now, here's the perfect way to continue this celebration. The loving and the lovely girl who won her first Oscar in Ingrid's picture, Cactus Flower, Miss Goldie Hawn.
I know this is a special night for you, but it's a special night for me, too, because it gives me an opportunity to thank you in public for taking me by the hand with so much love through my first picture. I'll never forget that. And I'll never forget that when I first met you, I was so nervous that I walked up to you and I looked at you and I said, Miss Bergman, I'm the most wonderful actress in the whole world, and you're my favorite fan. Oh, dear. You were so wonderful then, and you were so wonderful now to let us all gather here in your name. And I want the whole world to know that just by your being here, Variety Club receives a large enough contribution to continue helping underprivileged and needy children all over the world. I know everyone would like to meet the guests at your table, and I cannot think that I am the absolute perfect one to introduce everybody. Anyway, here I go. We've already met Frank. And seated with Frank is his wife, Mrs. Blue Eyes. Seated with Paul Henreid is Mrs. Henreid. Next, Ingrid's daughter, Pia. Pia's husband, Joseph Daly. Ingrid's daughter, Isabella. and she is accompanied by her husband, director Martin Scorsese. And seated with Jimmy Stewart is Jimmy's wife, Gloria. And seated with Ingrid is her son, Roberto. Now, Ingrid, it's my pleasure to introduce the First Lady of American Theater, your co-star in Anastasia, Miss Helen Hayes.
And oh, thank you, Ingrid, for that welcome, and thank all of you for the warm welcome. Applause is music to the ear, and when it comes from fellow players, well, then it's a symphony. You know, Ingrid has described herself as ordinary. Well, ordinary she is not. Millions of people don't throw bouquets at ordinary people. You do not give 3 Academy Awards to ordinary people. In the 40s, Ingrid averaged a picture a year in America, creating her own Hall of Fame of unforgettable women in Gaslight, Casablanca, Spellbound, Saratoga Trunk, Notorious, Arch of Triumph, not to mention the Bells of St. Mary's, in which she played a nun, and Joan of Arc, in which she played a saint. The 2 roles that were assumed to haunt her when the public image and the private woman collided in those more innocent days of Father Knows Best and One Man's Family. Yes, for a time, Ingrid Bergman disappeared from the American scene. It was not until 1955 that she returned, and what a return. Anatole Litvak cast her in a picture for 20th Century Fox in which I was to play the Dowager Empress. Now, here's a brief moment from that picture. I have listened to Ingrid's claims that she is the long-lost daughter of the Tsar. I have told her that she's an imposter. Overcome with disappointment, she has asked me to leave. And here, then, is Ingrid Bergman as Anastasia.
I'd better go.
I'm really not surprised that you do not recognize me. I have changed very much. Indeed.
You asked for just one moment.
What is strange is that you have changed so little. It is as though the horror of all these last years has only made you stronger.
I am not strong, mademoiselle. Let me go. You are too clever for me. I'm an old woman. My strength is only outward.
At least we met again.
And we will another time when my mind is clearer. But now...
No, we better not meet again. You have softened towards me, but later you'll regret it. You say it was all acting. She was some cheap little actress they hired for money. Well, in a way, they did hire me. I was starving after I ran from the last asylum. I had nowhere to go. Boonin found me on the bank of the Seine. Maybe there's more good to him than we think. Well, maybe I should have run away from him, too, but I was so tired of running.
Are you all right?
Yes, and if it is better for you not to believe.
You are ill.
No. I cough only because I'm a little frightened. It doesn't mean...
Say that again.
That I cough when I'm frightened?
When you were a little girl, you coughed when you were frightened.
Marian Kaya. Marian Kaya.
One of the high points in my life, Ingrid. In Ingrid's first motion picture, and in her most recent, she played the role of a concert pianist. And here is a man who has played that role all of his life, her dear friend, Victor Borge.
Well, the producer asked me to play something straight. And I'm delighted to try to do that. You see my problems. I have prepared a few things to play, of course, by a Swedish composer, obviously. Mozart. Johann Sebastian Mozart. Mozart wrote in the key of C. Who cares? Now, where the heck is C? They didn't mark the C here on the piano. Could you talk a little? Could you play a C for me, please? Is that the highest you can get? Okay, Mozart, as you know, was only from here up. You have all seen replicas of Mozart, of course. Mozart was what we call a bust. But they say he was happily married, in spite of that. But Mrs. Mozart wasn't, of course. She went all the way to the floor. He stopped right here. I'm going to play this composition, and I'm going to play it for, as you all know, and that's why you're here, for the one great actress of our age. There are others, but they are not two alike. And the one who is not alike is Ingrid. Now,
the Orient Express, Richard Widmark.
In most of the pictures I've made where I've been bumped off, it usually only took one actor to do the job. But a few years ago, I made one in which it took 12 of them to do me in. Jacqueline Bisset, Sean Connery, Lauren Bacall, Michael York, Sir John Gielgud. The list is endless. But there was one on that list who has my vote for most unlikely. Our guest of honor. A lovely lady turned killer. And as long as I'm up here, I'd just like to say, Ingrid, you killed me best. Now, this picture is very unusual for her because Ingrid Bergman, international superstar of countless movies, winner at that time of 2 Academy Awards and 5 nominations, accepted a role in a movie in which she had only one major scene. And that scene ran for only 1 minute. But she had the courage to do it and the talent to make it stand out. And for that alone, Ingrid, you're one hell of an actress. Here then is that minute. Ingrid Bergman in Murder on the Orient Express.
I was born backwards. That is why I work in Africa as missionary, teaching little brown babies more backward than myself.
But I see that you have spent 3 months in America. Were you not able to improve?
I was an international group for getting money for African mission from American rich. I speak Swedish to big audiences in Swedish American institution in Minneapolis and other big cities. In 10 weeks, we make $14,000 and 27 cents.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Falk.
Cary Grant once said that Ingrid Bergman dares to live truthfully. The night that she received the Academy Award for the performance that you've just seen, she dared more than usual. I know because I was the one who presented the Oscar to her. Before that black tie gathering of her peers and a worldwide television audience, she displayed an honesty that is rarely, if ever, seen on such an occasion. She frankly stated that all the other actresses nominated in her category were more deserving than she, and she went even further by publicly naming her own personal choice for the award. I'll go Dick Widmark one better. You're one hell of a lady, too. Many of the co-workers from Ingrid's films are here tonight. Some of them you've already met. Now we'd like you to meet the director of Arc of Triumph, Louis Milestone. Producer of Cactus Flower, and more pertinent to this evening, the past president of variety clubs, and now chairman of the Charities Foundations, Mike Frankowitz. And finally, Ingrid's classmate in dramatic school, Signe Hasso.
Käraste Ingrid. Här. Ja, jag är
Du är här ikväll.
Jag är här.
Ja, men det var väl underbart.
Och jag ska tala.
Du ska tala.
Ja.
Ska du tala på svenska?
Nej,
Yes.
på engelska. Du ursäktar det så talar
jag.
jag. So I say, käraste Ingrid, which of course means dearest, dearest Ingrid. What a joy it is to be here tonight and allowed to share this very special evening with you and yours. And so, of course, the memories rush by. One especially. The magic year was 1939, and the magic picture, of course, Intermezzo. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Sweden's Consul General, the Honorable Gunnar Axel Dahlström.
Miss Bergman, ladies and gentlemen, the illis quorum meruere labores is the name of a medal instituted by the King of Sweden in 1785. One of the most coveted distinctions a Swedish artist can receive. It is awarded rarely and only to those who have shown outstanding creativity in the cultural and artistic fields. It is my honor and my pleasure to present this medal to you on behalf of His Majesty, the King of Sweden, Carl Gustaf VI.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joseph Cotten.
Thank you. The year 1944 was an extremely memorable one for me, because that was the year I had the great good fortune to act in a film with the lady we honor tonight. The picture was Gaslight. It had superb performances by Charles Boyer, Day May Whitty, Angela Lansbury, and of course, Ingrid Bergman, whose portrayal of a shy, naive girl slowly and subtly being driven mad by her husband earned for her her first Academy Award, Best Actress of 1944. And here then is the final.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Albertson. One of the few actors who ever received all three enviable awards: the Oscar, the Tony, and the Emmy.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And Miss Bergman, tonight you will understand if I'm a little bit disturbed. Disturbed by a rumor that you might retire from that screen. That screen where we have all come to know and love you. And I hope, for one, that such a rumor is not true. But if there is any truth to it, I beg you to reconsider. Quite simply, on behalf of everyone, you ought to be in pictures. You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. And not just reruns on TV. Your voice still thrills the nation. Your face is still adored. Each close-up a sensation. And the Oscar is your reward. I promise I'll always go to wherever your films are shown. Like everyone else I know, worshiping at your throne. You'll always shine as brightly as Jupiter and Mars. You ought to be in pictures. Our star of stars.
Co-chairman of Variety Clubs International, and one of the best friends needy children ever had. And he's my friend. Monty Hall, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. I appreciate those kind words. And thank all of you for gathering here tonight for our 4th annual tribute. By doing so, you are helping us help underprivileged and handicapped children all over the world. And because of nights like tonight and the generosity of Sears, we're able to continue to do even more. Well, 3 years ago, this very night, we were privileged to honor John Wayne, Duke, the good guy. Now, I had just told him we were going to add the John Wayne Pavilion in his honor to the Miami Variety Children's Hospital.
I've been proud of having my name on many a marquee around this world, but never so proud as knowing that it'll be on the wing of a children's hospital of the Variety Club.
Two years ago, we honored Elizabeth Taylor and announced the Elizabeth Taylor retardation floor at the Flower Fifth Avenue Hospital in New York City. And who could ever forget that memorable evening we shared just 1 year ago tonight in honor of Jimmy Stewart? As a result of that evening, I am proud to announce tonight the Jimmy Stewart Research Center that has since been added to the Minnesota Variety Heart Hospital. And tonight, another humanitarian is added to our honor roll with the establishment of the Ingrid Bergman Pediatrics floor of the Blank Memorial Children's Hospital in Des Moines, Iowa. Ms. Bergman, by allowing us to gather with you on television, you've made it possible for us to add still another hospital wing where children will forever be treated and cared for in your name.
Thank you.
And now to introduce our guest of honor, Ingrid's co-star in 2 memorable pictures. He's a man that every man wanted to be and every woman just wanted. Cary Grant.
Usually a man would hesitate to introduce the woman with whom he has been indiscreet and notorious. But I proudly ask to have the privilege of introducing that woman. And what a woman. Dear Ingrid, ladies and gentlemen, Ingrid Bergman.
Is it my turn to speak? It's not easy after all that I have heard. I'm sure you realize how difficult it is to find the right words to thank you, all my friends that are here tonight, and you've given me quite a few surprises. So therefore I thought I should give you a surprise, because you don't know how long I have been in the film industry. You see, when my father discovered that something new had happened, and that was motion pictures, he was so enthusiastic that he went on my birthdays and rented a camera that he cranked by hand. That is me sitting in my mother's lap. My grandfather and grandmother are behind me. That was my first appearance on the screen. And that was the year 1916. Now here, I am 2 years old, and that is my mother, who pushes me around with a little wheelbarrow. That was my first prop. My father was now anxious to get in the picture. He's on the left side. And my father told me that one day you will have great pleasure out of these movies. Now this is my mother coming up here, and I am very, very happy because there I can see her move and smile. I was always very polite, at least I was polite on the screen. Now, I didn't know what to do. Nobody gave me much direction. Here I'm 3 years old, and I'm now coming to my mother's grave. What you see to the left there is her grave, and I'm putting flowers on her grave. And that's why I was so happy to have those other shots before where I can see her move. Here I had learned to at least wave to the audiences. A big car is coming up with more cousins and aunts and uncles from Germany. And we start the same thing, kissing and saying happy birthday. Now here, my father thought I should be with a young person, so this governess came into my life and stayed for a couple of years. Here I wave more eagerly to the audience. I've grown a bit now, and the same gesture. I couldn't get any further than that. Now here I'm sitting together with my cousin, who is here tonight, and I hope that she enjoys seeing this little film, Another Birthday. I must be about 7 years old. And my father missed the speed there. I always loved to dress up and pretend to be somebody else. So here we dress up in something, and we start a little dance. But unfortunately, he missed our heads. I must be about 10 now. And I'm having coffee and cake again. My father didn't think much of the theater, but he adored the opera. So here he's giving me a lesson. He couldn't play the piano, but after all, silent movies, so it was all right. And I sing as much as I could sing. He trained me really for the movies, didn't he? Because nothing came from my opera career. This is a garden outside Stockholm, and we are celebrating another birthday. I am now about 12. And I am to the extreme left there. You can see me very vaguely. By now, my father had fallen in love with my governess, so he focused on her. I don't blame him. Look how pretty she is. This is the last. I'm coming to our summer home outside Stockholm to spend my vacation. I come with my one suitcase, and I came off a quite small boat. And 10 years later, I came off a much bigger boat in the harbor of New York. And I wanted to thank two people. I can't thank you all. You know I'm grateful for what you've done for me today, and extremely grateful to a variety club and for this lovely hospital wing that is going to be made in my name. But I wanted to thank Catherine Brown. She was David Selznick's agent and came to Sweden after she'd seen Intermezzo, and she talked me into the contract to come and make Intermezzo in America. And then I want to thank Ruth Roberts because she taught me English. She's worked so hard with me to make me speak good English. But when I had to speak Murder on the Orient Express, I couldn't put on a Swedish accent. She had to teach me how to speak with a Swedish accent. I thank you all for the most unbelievably beautiful, beautiful evening in my whole life. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
All-Star Tribute to Ingrid Bergman. Brought to you by Sears Roebuck and Company. Sears, where America shops for gifts of value. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, from border to border, wherever you live, the Sears family all over America is ready to serve you at a Sears store or through the catalog. Sears is where America shops for gifts of value.
Each weeknight, join television's most honored anchorman on the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite, and start your Sunday night with a brand new edition of 60 Minutes, the CBS News weekly magazine. Monday, celebrate a Charlie Brown Christmas with the Peanuts Gang. Monday night at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.